And we're live.
To briefly touch back on the gun thing, I'm kind of like on the border of that. I finished with that, the shooting, and I was kind of like, man. And I think I'm not 100% one way or the other yet, but the thing that kind of like, I was surprised by how little upkeep there was for it, like how little shooting you had to do, like how little practice you were doing for this. I kind of thought, well, shit, maybe this would be an activity as well as, home defense, like from shooting for this. And then the guy was like, oh yeah, you just go like 4 times a year. And I'm like, wait, that's it?
4 times a year?
Yeah.
Kind of a casual. Well, it is a fun hobby. I haven't gone in forever to go shooting, but yeah, you must have had some fun shooting. Like if you're planning on going back, doing it again.
Well, I thought it might be an interesting thing to do, right? Like, something to do in this area, COVID friendly, like maybe like, scratch that itch of like, here's something I don't know a lot about to learn something about. Kind of like the idea of like the upkeep and like learning a skill was kind of interesting to me too.
Where would you shoot?
There's some ranges out here.
Indoor, outdoor?
Outdoor.
Outdoor.
About
And you're in Iowa?
minutes. Yeah.
So in the snow?
Maybe.
Well, you do you. Not my cup of tea. Like.
Yeah, anyways, that was an interesting tie-in just because it was one of your viewers who reached out, which I thought was cool.
Shooting's fun. My favorite kind of shooting was always shotguns and shooting aerial targets, shooting sporting clays. It's a lot like golf. So you go from sort of hole to hole on a big outdoor course, and each one provides a different challenge. There's 2 different targets at each thing, and they give you like 10 different combinations of targets. First it'll be like, all right, the left bird is coming, and now the right bird is coming. All right, now it's a left and a right. Now it's the right and the left simultaneously. So you're, shooting them out of the air, and you keep score, hits and misses, obviously. And at the end, you see who won.
How
just like
good
golf.
are you? Well, I'll preface it. You're the best I know. I think you're the best I've ever shot with, especially at the shotgun. You're good with all guns, but the shotgun in particular is probably your best. If you go there, are you probably the best guy that went that day, or are there other people?
I did well in the state championships. I shot like 89 out of 100. I don't remember what I placed, like top teens or something like that in the state. And whenever I would go just for the day, I would often be the best of that day. But there were definitely shooters who were better. I shot with a guy who like shot in the Olympics, and he just trounced me. It just wasn't really that close. He just seemed to, of course it was his course. It was the one he shot at all the time. And I'd never been there before, but still he was much better.
He was in the Olympics. Yeah.
He was an Olympic shooter. I wouldn't say that I was ever an Olympic shooter. Of course, I never had any Olympic training. It was just me and Dad, like
not officially.
My dad teaching me to shoot. I don't know. I was really fucking good. On a hunting field, I was always the best. People complain. With dove hunting in particular, they sort of come into the field a handful at a time, and all the hunters are spread out in the field. And so if you're like the point man, if you happen to be positioned so that the birds are always coming over you first and you never miss, then no one else gets a chance to shoot. And people would complain. They'd be, let some through. Let some through. Because I'm not going to miss. Just not going to miss them. Really good, I guess. Not like world class for sure. But the best I know. And, I don't know. It's what I was really good at, was just shotgun shooting for sure. I have a real knack for, because there's a kind of it's not exactly precision shooting. There's more of a feel for it.
There's an
sort
intuition.
of like there's some intuition and there's some visualization. I don't look down the barrel of the shotgun. I just hold the shotgun and I look at the bird. I look at the target, and I've got the hand-eye coordination to I know where the barrel's pointing. I could probably hit targets pretty well blindfolded if they were like auditory cues. If I just heard a noise, I could shoot that blind. So yeah, pretty good. One thing I was never good at was like trick shooting. There were guys like that Olympic shooter. He could put his shotgun behind his back and he could shoot very well at flying targets. He could shoot it. He could put it like behind his head and upside down. Same thing. And I'd never even seen that before. So I was blown away when I saw.
Did you try it?
Stuff. Yeah, and I couldn't do it. I had no feel for what that meant. Like holding a gun in the natural position, it's like I'm locked in. Like if I look there, I can immediately point there. If I look there, I can immediately point there. My hand-eye coordination is like built for that. But the opposite, it'd be like trying to hit a baseball left-handed. Getting in the left-handed batter's box. Everything's weird and funky, and you don't have that mind-muscle connection, the hand-eye coordination. You can't do it. I can't do it.
That would be so embarrassing to have to like go into a batter's cage and swing the wrong hand. You just in front of people. I was just imagining doing the movement, and I was like, oh, I would look like an asshole. Like,
yeah,
I could be like wood chopping.
I can do the movement, and it looks fluid, but I have no like ability to like hit the ball that way. But I can get in a batting cage right-handed and do okay. So yeah, I don't know. I don't know where I would rank in the of the like YouTube like gun guys. I don't know anybody else who does shotgun shooting other than that older guy who like had the world record that was like sponsored by Benelli. He has this trick shot. I think he has the world record for it. I don't remember how many sporting clays he takes in one hand, and he throws like 10 or 12 in the air, and then he shoots them before they can hit the ground.
I've seen that.
And I saw that, and I was like, I wonder how many I can do. Because it's a real challenge, because first of all, just throwing them in the air is part of the challenge. You can't get someone else to throw them for you, or it's cheating. That's not what we're doing here. So I started out doing it, and it's like 2, oh yeah, poof poof. 3, poof poof poof. 4, poof poof poof. Ooh, that was hard. That last one's hard. Holy shit! And I think I got to either 5 or 6.
What's the shotgun hold? Is it 8?
You're right. I just found the video. This guy throws 12.
His shot. So it's a Benelli, and the tube is as long as the barrel on his. So his is holding obviously 12, at least.
Yeah.
I was probably using a Benelli with the tube taken out, so I don't think I could have held more than 6. Like I had a standard tube. I didn't have like an extended tube or anything, unless I had borrowed a gun. I think in the video I'm using a Benelli Montefeltro, which is just kind of a mid-tier Benelli semi-auto, like hunting, sporting clay type semi-auto shotgun. Nothing tactical, but also nothing like too fancy.
I was thinking I'd max out at 1 because I have a pump action shotgun. Do you think you could hit 2?
Oh, absolutely.
With a pump?
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Okay.
I pump it very quickly. Yeah.
I've hit 2 before with an over-under. I don't think I've ever tried to hit 2 with a pump.
Oh, yeah, over and under is
But
instantaneous.
2 is kind
faster.
of your limit with an over-under.
It is. You gotta be. Now you gotta
rock
be
at
a
the
real
third.
fucking champion to break that bitch down, throw 2 in, lock her back, and
Or just being
that
really
would
good
have
at
been
the
a challenge. Oh, I wish I could do that. Like I haven't really wanted to shoot in a long time. Like I don't miss it that much. It's not that big of a deal. It's a thing I like, but it's not my favorite thing. But now I wish I could shoot an over and under to try to shoot 3 hand thrown targets with an over and under shotgun. I think I can do it.
That would be hard. You'd have to throw it in a way almost that like a couple of them lined up, because you're not going to have time to break it and then reload. So
Yeah,
you'd
I
have to
am.
like be like,
Yeah, I
oh,
am.
there's like a little eclipse happening. All right.
No,
I can take
that's
those ones
cheating.
out.
No, see, that was the hardest part about hitting 5 was sometimes I would accidentally hit 2 at a
Oh.
time. They're so close to each other. That's the other thing. Like normally when you're shooting sporting clays, skeet, whatever, skeet is a different kind, a different game. With skeet, you change positions in a very small area, and there are only 2 throwers, one high and one low, and they're crossing each other like this.
Yeah.
But
Yeah, the guy didn't cover this when I took these.
Yeah.
course.
Taylor's
it's-
like,
it's
you
a
got to
difference.
hit 2 at once. I can hit 16, but they're taped together.
yeah, yeah.
It's devastating.
Hitting 2 at once is easy. That's the problem. So like normally when you're shooting, so there are chokes on the end of the barrel of a shotgun, these insertable things you screw in, and they are tighter or looser depending on how big you want the pattern of pellets to be at various ranges. So a full choke is a very tight pattern, and a cylinder choke is the antithesis of a tight pattern. It's as wide as it can really be, and there's everything in between. There's improved cylinder, which is a little bit tighter than the cylinder, and then there's skeet, which is somewhere in between. I think it's right about there too. And skeet is what I would usually use if I was just shooting sporting clays. It's a nice wide pattern, but you still got some range before the pattern disintegrates to the point where a skeet could actually make it through the pattern. You know, the pellets are so spread apart that a 70 millimeter sporting clay could just escape through them. But I had to use a full choke for that trick shot because any looser pattern would accidentally hit an extra skeet. You have to hit them perfectly.
I didn't know the rules, and if it was like, oh, lucked out there, knocked
Hit them all.
Yeah.
Boom, 12.
You just throw them very gently 4
So
feet
they're
in front of
in
you,
a
try
stack.
and blast
The
off.
throw is hard too because you have to throw them in such a way that they all go both high enough that you can pull the shot off and spread out enough that, again, you can pull the shot off. Because by the end, you're shooting them on the way down. I was. That guy who's a professional, is his name Knapp? Is it Tom Knapp? I'm probably getting that wrong. But he hits them up at their apex. Like
Yeah.
they get up high and he's and fucking wasting them. He's so good.
By the time the last one is getting shot, it's like 4 feet off the ground because he's like
Okay, he is
chasing
falling
them all
down.
down.
That's how I was. Like when I hit the fifth one, it was 8 feet off the ground or something.
Do chokes
Mhm.
wear out? Because you're kind of shooting them.
It would take a lot of shooting.
Yeah, so the
Like
pellets hitting the choke
lot.
don't wear.
they're lead, it's steel.
Okay.
And so the other thing is that the pellets don't actually hit the choke because they're still in the plastic wadding. So they're held by a plastic wadding that's shaped very much like my hand is right now. And when they hit the air, all the pedals catch the air, and the shot continues on.
This is a
packing.
misleading picture I'm showing everybody. Then, yeah,
Yeah.
So, when I was in Wisconsin, you'd see those all up on the Great Lakes. You
Yeah.
see the
The
shotgun.
waddings.
Yeah, waddings.
Yeah, I've thought that too, Woody.
Okay.
But I guess
I'm glad
the lead.
I thought I
No,
was
the-
retarded for a second. And everybody was forehead on palm. Yeah.
Well, I mean, me jumping in for you might not save the day.
Like you can even see, like I could look at a wadding and tell you loosely like what kind of choke the guy's using, because a full choke will squeeze the wadding onto the shot to the extent that there are dimples all in the wadding, like excessively, whereas a cylinder choke won't do that quite as much. Like you could look at two waddings, one from a cylinder and one from a full choke, and be like, oh yeah, this is definitely the cylinder and this is definitely the full choke.
Do all shotguns take a choke?
No.
Some of them are unable to be choked.
Yeah. My dad's got an 870 that's just full choke. You know, it's just a full choke. I think a lot of tactical shotguns are probably that way. Although a lot of them come with like the ability to put compensators and stuff, and that's really the main reason there's a screw-on thing at the end of the barrel.
Would you know what mine is? That Marine 870?
I would almost guarantee that if it doesn't have insertable chokes, then it's a full.
Which is
And
the
it'll say on
smallest
the-
one or the biggest? Yeah, smallest one.
Smallest one.
It's
Tightest.
it's the tightest standard one. Yeah, I think filthy like I think you would have more fun shooting because like look, you're not gonna get in anything if it's not fun, right? Like it's got to be fun. And I don't think it's like. Did you shoot paper targets? I don't recall what you said.
Yeah.
It's not fun. Like really, what you're getting is like it's kind of cool that the gun's loud and like recoiling a little. I'm sure that's interesting at first, and the smell is kind of cool. And a little smoke came out. That's neat. And there's just excitement
really
of
to
kind of a
satisfy
score.
the curiosity of I've never done this. I want to know what it feels like, what it actually takes, like what it like not. I mean, in terms of literally, what does it take, like pressure wise, to pull a trigger? Like how quickly could you do this? How hard is it to hit something far away, etc.
Yeah. Shooting things that do stuff is a lot of fun, and that doesn't have to mean watermelons, but it should.
You're thinking
Watermelon-
like home invaders.
I mean, God willing, Oh, if
Watermelon.
I don't know if
huh?
you were joking, but he actually means reactive steel targets that move, that plink, that like, or
Yeah, they
maybe
make
even
these
just make a good
targets-
sound.
they make these targets that are like, they're like this, and when you shoot them, they fall down, and then you can quickly like go back and reset them, and they make this very satisfying plink when you shoot them, and you can sort of go through them quickly and like get better at going through them quickly, and it's a really good training exercise. But also like, I shot soda bottles in videos not because they were cheap, not just because they were cheap and like interesting, like they were fun. Like we had always shot soda bottles as targets, like growing up. Like we would set them up at long range because when you hit one, it fucking explodes and it's cool. Soda bottles make good targets, and anything that makes a loud noise, like steel targets in general, just that gong that you get when you hit them at long range is very satisfying. And just being able to shoot outside, like one of the things I would always do for people do with people. Do for people who were like Europeans who would come over and like, you know, they'd never touched a gun before. I'd be like, look, first of all, here's gun safety. Just I draw a line sometimes on the ground. Like the barrel stays on that side of the line. As long as you do that, nothing bad can happen. If you rotate at the hip, but your arms stay pointed that way. See, so that way you can turn around and look at me, but the gun doesn't turn around and look at me too. And like once we gotten that down, it's like, all right, now fuck all that other shit and have some fun. What do you want to do right now? Do you want to pull the trigger as fast as you can? Because that's fun. Like I don't care what anybody says. That's fucking fun. Don't you want to shoot a machine gun? Like, well, I don't know. I won't be able to get all the bullets to hit the target. Of course not. It's a fucking machine gun. Just fucking spray them everywhere. Who cares? Just don't aim above the trees. Don't aim at my house, and don't turn around. Who fucking cares what you hit? All of that shit's a target. Anything's a target if you don't care what happens.
Anything's a nail, right?
Yeah. Anything's a hammer if you're in need or whatever. Anything's a target if you just don't give a fuck. You know, like trees, the woods in general, the water, the rocks, the ground. It's fun just to shoot the ground sometimes and watch the dirt jump.
My wife told me the other day, we came back the other day and she was like, you know, someone tagged our house today. And I was like, what? And I went out and I looked and it wasn't. Some little kid had done like Xos and a marker down the length of like one of the panels on the side of our house or something like this, which in of itself kind of sucks, but it isn't that big a deal, right? But I was joking to her. I'm like, you know, Kyle from PKA, I'm going to ask him how he got a hold of that tank because I'm just going to park it out there for a night. And just the idea of that was kind of amusing too.
But yeah, tanks are easier to get your hands on than you might think.
That he tags your house, so he used a marker, a permanent marker, I assume, and wrote on your house.
It was not tagging. Tagging implies like gang or like symbol. It was fucking X's and O's. It was like 10 of them. It was like a kid drawing with the marker.
So then, not tagging. He vandalized your house.
Yeah.
I'm not a fan.
No shit, right?
That really sucks. I guess you live in a pretty populated area.
Yeah. We're kind of downtown Cedar Rapids.
Yeah. No, you'd be kind of off the beaten path if you could tag my house. Like